Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friends of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Brad.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
And this week on the show, we are talking all about Star Wars thrifting, Star Wars collecting. We are joined by Star Wars thrifting herself, Silver. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Friends of the Force. Thank you so much for having me. I am melting in my seat because I get to talk to you two again. So thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here tonight.
It's been a minute since we've seen you because we ran into you on our way to the Light and Magic panel at Celebration. That was the first time we met in person, and then we hung out in the Celebration stage all day long. And what a time. That was so much fun.
Listen, there's no bonding like when you're stressed at Celebration, rushing to a panel, and then you meet your friends in line as you're dodging, trying to caffeinate ourselves. Not sure if I had breakfast. And then here we are sitting in a panel for 4 hours. There's no better time to bond with each other. So yes, that was really fun.
Really the ideal situation, honestly.
It truly was.
All friendships should work like that.
I think so.
So here you are, your setup is you're running. Okay, friendship, go.
There you go. Yeah, no, honestly, it's probably like one of my favorite experiences at Celebration was running into both of you as we're sprinting because we're trying to make it into the Light and Magic panel was really fun. So
yeah, and then they threw us in the reserved seating area, which was like kind of crazy. I was like, oh, I don't think we're supposed to be down here.
These are good seats.
I felt like we were about to get kicked out because it's like, I don't think we should be sitting right behind of all of like people who are working at Lucasfilm. So
like, oh, Doug Chang is right there.
Oh yeah, we're just chilling. By the way, Doug Chang, just as handsome in the back of his head. So I had a great time sitting right behind Doug Chang. So it was quite the experience.
Yeah, it was so fun. The Attack of the Clones panel too was just such a blast because we sat through that together as well. And I know you and I were talking right before Celebration about how much we were excited for that panel and hopefully some Attack of the Clones merch. And there was plenty of it at the Celebration store. How did you feel about the overall like Attack of the Clones prequel presence at Celebration this year? Do you feel like it showed up? You feel like some improvements? How do you feel?
I think it was just a big, celebration just for like prequel kids, to be honest. I mean, we were just really all there because they kicked it off with Kenobi and, just the big, presence that, Ewan McGregor had and Hayden Christensen being there. It was just like, you just feel, the fact that like us prequel kids are just like completely thriving here. And it was just a good time, honestly. Yes, the Attack of the Clones panel was something that it was chaotic.
So chaotic.
Silly, wild and crazy, just like the movie itself. So I actually had a great time at the panel. But I think we can all agree that Daniel Logan and Tamara Morrison need to have their own panels moving forward because those two are just a hoot together. I was just dying laughing. But no, I think overall, like Celebration just completely, again, I think it just really celebrated, just again, like, us prequel kids, because I think my first Celebration was Orlando. And as much as I love the sequels, it just felt, I don't know, whatever content that's coming out, Celebration really focuses on, what's coming out now. And, just because it was Kenobi was coming out, it was really kind of like honing in on during that era of Star Wars, which was really fun to be a part of. And I loved it.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing though, of the subsection of it just being for the prequel kids is all of the late 90s, early 2000s style, like ugly t-shirts that just, feature multiple versions of the character's face on them and just has their name on it, whether they actually be vintage or they are the, 2022 in the style of t-shirts. Yeah. I love those. They're so great. It's so silly. And I saw them for so many characters. It was a delight. It was a real delight.
Yeah, it really was. So, I mean, talk about just being in the golden age. We're in the prequel renaissance right now. And it was just so fun just to be there and just to really just feel that. So, my goodness. Great times.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that like everybody from the prequel trilogy is getting their time in the light, right? Well, you have like Hayden and Ewan, obviously, and then Natalie. You posted the photo of her on Jimmy Kimmel holding the Padme figure, which I was like, what year is it? Like the
I
Phantom Menace Padme Naberrie figure specifically.
Yes.
And then Tamora back as Boba Fett. Like, what
Yeah.
is happening in 2022? The water, something's in the water this year.
Listen.
It's called capitalism. I don't know. I gotta say, as cynical as I can be, it's kind of working out for me right now. So when it comes to this content.
Oh my god! And Jimmy Smits. Jimmy Smits is back. He's gonna be back in like 2 shows.
Jimmy Smits. I could not handle that. Oh my goodness! When he came out after the Obi-Wan Kenobi like premiere, and I was just like, oh no, this is just too much for me to handle. I love Jimmy Smits. I know you all do too. But my goodness,
nobody told me he was there. Nobody said, Sarah, red alert, Jimmy Smits is in the building. I mean, I wasn't in the building, but it would have been really nice to know that Jimmy Smits was in the building. Nobody told me. I feel offended by this still. I think I found out like midday Friday that Jimmy Smits was there. And I was like, what? So it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm not upset about it at all. I'm not upset about missing it at all.
Yeah.
Next time for Andor, Jimmy Smits. I'll be in the same building.
Oh I can't believe he's still going to show up for Andor.
He's gotta.
No, I know. We're just speculating here, but come on, like it makes sense.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Okay, so we're talking a bit about the prequels, and so for our listeners who might not be like familiar with what you do and like what your love of Star Wars stems from, like what is your entry point to Star Wars and how has that evolved over time?
Well, my entry point for Star Wars was definitely during the special edition re-releases. My uncles, my dad, very big Star Wars fans. I mean, we watch it. Honestly, the original trilogy is always playing during Christmas and Thanksgiving at the house and stuff. But I think that was like my first real, if I can think about like the first time I ever saw anything Star Wars related, it was during that re-release because all the Power of the Force figures were coming out. And I remember my dad and my uncles, collecting it and, very strict on, you guys can't touch this, can't play with these are mine. And of course, can't tell a kid, can't play with these toys. They're in a package, you're going to want to. But I just remember that's just always just been a big part of my family, especially during family get-togethers. But it wasn't until 1999 of the anticipation of the Phantom Menace. I was about 9 years old. And we were you can just sense that there was this big deal coming out, a big movie coming out. Of course, I definitely remember all the Taco Bell, KFC merchandise that was out with it, which was huge. But I just can sense the excitement of my uncles and my dad, especially. My dad really wasn't into going to movie theaters unless it was for Lord of the Rings or Star Wars movies. So
Respect,
I remember going,
honestly.
Yeah, I remember going. Yeah, my dad's, just rather if he's going to go to a movie or in public, it's going to be for Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. But I just remember watching Phantom Menace when I was like 9. And just don't really remember the story. I just remember the important parts. Like, this is going to be the scary guy from the older movies eventually. Just really loving the movie. And, but it wasn't until Attack of the Clones came out. I was in middle school, a very impressionable, teenage, girl, preteen girl, and falling in love so much with Attack of the Clones. It was by far that was my movie that I fell in love in theaters. That was a movie that just everyone has that magical moment in theaters, and Attack of the Clones was it for me, for sure. And then it was cool when Revenge of the Sith came out. I was in high school. I was able to get my friends together, and we saw the midnight theaters, or we saw it in theaters at midnight. And just being really sad that Star Wars was over, I guess, but not really. So honestly, I just think the prequels just were really important parts of my childhood growing up. You know, I was in elementary school when Phantom Menace came out, so I was able to, you know, have that fun excitement going to go see a summer movie. And that movie's just so pure and innocent in a way. But then seeing Attack of the Clones, where it just made me just, you know, really just, I don't know, I just feel like that movie really impacted the way I viewed Star Wars, where I really took ownership of it, where I feel like I inherited Star Wars because of my family. That movie really just made it feel like, oh no, I love it. And this is why I love it. And then when Revenge of the Sith came out, I was able to really own it and be like, no, like, you know, get my friends together. We're going to experience it at midnight because we're so excited for it. So yeah, I've loved it ever since, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think those prequels are really made for me, I feel like.
I feel like you were absolutely the perfect age to be experiencing those because they really kind of age with the viewer because of the time that goes past each of those movies or past. Oh, wow. That sentence just didn't work at all. The time that passes through each of those movies. Wow. I mean, what an experience. By the time that you get to ROTS, you're able to go to the midnight showing with all your friends. Like the dream. The dream,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, no, really. Because these movies, you think about it, there were like 3 years in between. So, I mean, I experienced every, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school. I experienced each Star Wars movie. So yeah, it was, I really quite literally grew up with them.
I gotta say, I really miss midnight showings. Like, I know why we don't do them anymore because of safety reasons, but oh man, that's rough to think about. Like, Revenge of the Sith was the last Star Wars movie that would ever get a midnight release. I mean, now we kind of do that and we share that on Disney Plus, you know, like everybody tweeting their reactions, whether you're at 4 o'clock in the morning and you just finished the Kenobi finale, or you're luckily on the West Coast and it's 1 a.m. and you get
Oh my
nice 6
goodness.
hours of sleep.
Yep.
You're in
So we still
Australia.
share it.
Or you're in Australia and it's 5 p.m. when the episode drops.
Oh my God, I gotta move to Australia.
The audacity of the
wild.
Australians for having that time zone.
Yeah, I know. How wild would that be to just be able to watch it at 5 p.m.? Like, that's just like ideal.
Like, just finished dinner.
With your
Let's turn it
dinner.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I give it up to my East Coast friends because the fact that a lot of y'all, you know, I'm in California, so you know, I was over here complaining that I was 11:30, saying like, "Oh, this is hard," but a lot of y'all like really showed up and stayed up till midnight, or actually not midnight. I'm sorry, till like what 3, 4 a.m., which is
3
wild.
a.m. Tear
Yeah,
rolls down my
wild.
cheek.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah, no, I stayed up. It's 2 a.m. for me. And then I didn't get back to bed till 4. So
Yeah.
choices were made. And then I worked like 8.5 hours. And I was like, I have no brain cells left, guys. I gotta go.
I gotta go.
My sleep has not recovered since the finale. And it's just, man, Star Wars hits different when you finish it and you hear the birds chirping outside your window. You're like, wow. You're like, okay. All right. I kind of see it's twilight right now. That's cool.
That is not what I strive for. I want to
Oh my-
sleep.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I like really enjoyed like my midnight release experience was the Hunger Games. Went with all my friends. It was very exciting. I braided my hair and everything, you know. And yeah, we got there at 6 o'clock. We were in the theater. We were some of the first people in the theater, and we just waited there for 6 hours and played card games and stuff. It was fun. But I have to say that although midnight releases are not a thing, I really do love the day before 7 p.m. showing. Like,
Oh,
that's
same
such
here.
a reasonable time to
Yeah.
release a TV show or a movie or anything.
Mhm.
This is me adding Disney Plus. Please
Yeah.
for the love of all that is good.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Night before is great. The delirium of midnight showings will be missed, but yeah, my body is happy for the 7 p.m.s too. Silver, you said something that was really interesting. I think was like you mentioned like taking ownership of your Star Wars fandom, and I haven't really ever thought about it in those terms. Like my brother got me into Star Wars through the special editions, but I also was like somebody that like watched the prequels and was like, oh, this is now mine. Like I'm gonna choose the things I love, not just like what my brother told me was cool, or you really kind of run with it. And I think that's a really cool way to describe it. When did you get into like I know you're doing like a whole thrifting thing, and you have like your Instagram and your Twitter, and you're posting like all this really cool stuff. Like, when did your collecting phase and your thrifting phase of your Star Wars fan experience begin?
Well, I've always been into thrifting. My mom, ever since we were really young, she loved to go like to Goodwills, garage sales, and like repurpose furniture. So I've always just been kind of really into that aspect of going and finding things to repurpose or things that are pre-used and things like that. But for Star Wars, it wasn't until after Force Awakens where I like just there's something reignited in me about collecting Star Wars. I've always loved Star Wars, but when I saw Force Awakens, I just really thought like, wow, I need to start collecting more things. Um, I went to the flea market and then I saw this Jar Jar Binks alarm clock doll thing. And I was like, what is this? This is like probably the greatest thing I've ever seen. $3? Sure, I'm gonna take it. And it just made me feel like, oh my goodness, like I just never even think to even buy collectibles at a garage sale or a flea market or a thrift store. So I think it really started with TFA because again, Star Wars is back in theaters. There's something just really just reignited like my love for, this franchise. So the fact that I was able to get some weird, obscure Star Wars things that weren't just at Target, but things that I've completely forgot, like Jar Jar Binks, was just
Mhm.
wild and definitely just got really, I always just kept an eye for it.
So my question is, does the Jar Jar Binks alarm clock doll still alarm clock?
You know what? Yes, I don't like the sound. I don't like the way it's creepy and weird.
Like it's a projector.
It vibrates and I don't like it. So he does not have like, yeah, I don't have the alarm clock settings.
Oh
He's
no.
just a cute little doll just on my shelf, and that's how we're gonna keep it.
I've just Googled it and I just have so many questions about the creators of this particular find. 22 inches tall. It's a
Mhm,
plushie that's
mhm.
also an alarm clock.
Yeah.
So imagine you're like cuddling with your plushie and then like it starts beeping in your ear at 7 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, it's not like the cute, like, beeping sounds of, like, the movie. It's not like a soundbite from the movie. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. All I know, it's just not fun. I would just be I love Jar Jar Binks, I will defend Jar Jar Binks all day, every
Oh
day,
yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
being
Absolutely.
woken up to the sounds and it's just not fun. And yeah, I think what they wanted to think like, oh, he's your best friend, you're gonna cuddle with him and he's gonna wake you up and that's great. But yeah, no, it's scary and traumatizing. He has Sarah, I don't know if you're just looking at the picture, you can see his face. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah. With the open
yeah,
mouth
yeah,
and
open
yeah,
mouth.
it looks like
It,
he's
it
yelling.
He's
yeah, it
kind of
just
jacked, actually.
yeah.
He's got some
He is
Oh
beefy
also
yeah.
kind of
arms.
jacked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's pretty beefy. But again, this was in the 90s. We were living in the Tickle Me Elmo and
Oh, for
Furby
sure.
era
Oh, for sure.
where listen, I definitely a 90s kid. No, never again will I own a Furby in my life
No.
because
Oh my
that
gosh.
things wake up in the middle of the night. I don't know, I don't know. I just have reserved feelings about that. But yes,
So
as
you
much as I
never
love
owned
this
Furbaka? The Furby,
no,
Furbaka?
never. I've been
What?
traumatized with
No.
Furbies or anything. Any plushie that can I think plushies are cute and they should just stay cute and like be there to just cuddle. Just the fact that they come alive in like different hours of the day because they're your friend is really off-putting and creepy. So no, thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. Well, I just feel like I had to ask, but the point of the find being like, heck yeah, $3, let's get it. I feel like that's such a satisfying feeling when you're out and about and you see something, and you're like, but wait, could I have that? And could I have that for an extra reasonable price, which makes having it all the more exciting.
Yeah, it's a really fine line that you have to walk in because just because it's like a good price, it's like, "Ooh, do I really need it?" But you're gonna do it just because it's like you can't pass it up. So, yeah, that's the kinda like the battle I'm constantly in, each time because it's like, do I really need this? But let's be real, the creepy Jar Jar Binks alarm clock we all need.
We
So
all need that.
yeah,
Yeah, but I'm not buying them from eBay. He's $40 on eBay.
I swear, I swear. There's a Jar Jar
I think
later
you should
song
buy them.
too.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, we were talking earlier about how 2022 is the year. Now we just got to have Jedi Temple Challenge come back, and then Ahmed Best is gamefully employed by Lucasfilm once more. So we need that now. That's the thing we need.
Yes, I love Jedi.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a whole other episode. I really would like a Jedi Temple Challenge renewal, please. That was a
Same.
delight
That
in
was
my
fun.
in my
That was
day.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think it is like about, so like I'm a collector myself. Like I have gotten to the point of, okay, like which crevice can I now fit this new piece of merch that has arrived to my house? Like, is there a little open spot somewhere under the bed? Yes, perfect. It sits there until it can't. Like what do you think it is like about Star Wars merch and like the way that like you are drawn to it? Like I know the reasons that I'm drawn to it, but for you, like what is it about like owning the item and like connecting it to your love of the franchise? Like what makes you like want to represent your love of Star Wars like through the things that you're collecting and that you're
Well, I think you just mentioned that, like, connecting. Especially for me, I go to these random garage sales, flea markets, thrift stores that this thing just happened to be there at that day. They just have someone happen to donate it, someone happens to get rid of it. It's their place for you. So I always say it's a will of the force for me. I always say that's just my excuse. Um, but I don't know. I just feel like you love something so much. You want to, like, for me, this is how I feel like I connect with something that I love is by physically grabbing something, whether it's something that's vintage, whether it's something that weird or whatever. I get this, insane satisfaction really that this happens to be here at this time or place. I'm going to pick it up. Also, there are times where, let's say I buy something online. I just feel like right now, we just finished Kenobi, right? And right now, all I think about is this Kenobi show. Um, that's all I'm fascinated with. That's all I'm thinking about. There's something about owning a piece of that that just really brings, I don't know, I don't want to say comfort. It just brings, it just kind of allows me to show, or you just want like something to remind you of something, a piece of history that happened. And I don't know, I just really think that's kind of really what I go for. But mainly because I just everything that I pick up is really secondhand. Again, they just happen to be there. I happen to be at the same place at the same time it was there. I don't know, there's just something that's just so I just felt like I was meant to grab it. um so I don't
yeah, I
know.
love that.
I think it's more like just celebrating. It's a way to show like you celebrate something by having a piece of. I keep saying history, but I think that's kind of what it is. So
In a lot of ways, yeah, it's a physical representation of the thing that you love. You can hold all the things that you love inside your heart, and that's good and fine, and they're all there, and they're all there because you feel that same excitement whenever you engage with that thing. But it's another thing to like every time I come down to record a podcast, I look at my little Tarful Funko Pop, and I'm like, that's my man.
Yep.
That's my guy. And it just is a fun little reminder of how much I enjoy this silly thing. And that's always like a good feeling. And I generally don't think of myself as too much of a collector. I try not to buy too many things, especially like for a while I was in school there and I really couldn't buy a lot of things. But now that I'm not in school, I've been able to get some more things, including not even licensed stuff, but I enjoy fantasy pens that people make. And so I have this incredible Padme pin with her This Is How Liberty Dies outfit, which is my favorite outfit.
Mhm.
And like, that's like one of my favorite pieces in my collection, even though it's not, official merch. It doesn't have any sort of value in that way. It really just is that physical representation of the thing that I love so much.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, in any way that, like a fanzine or books or movies are a piece of Star Wars history, I think merchandise are as much a piece of it as well, and tell a story of like when and where you were. Like the fact that, I own a Ray Funko Pop. That was the first Funko Pop I ever bought. God, if I could go back and tell myself not to walk into that mire back in September 2015. Don't go to Mire, whatever you do. And like thinking about like, oh, I bought the Ray and Kylo, and like that was the first Triple Force Friday, or the Force
Yeah.
Friday, or whatever they called it back then. And I know we haven't had many of those since. We have like, Kenobi Wednesdays and Mando Mondays and stuff like that. But it was like a new, like having those two specific Funko Pops, and the child size, large size shirt that I bought of BB-8 because it was really cheap, but fits. All those things like make me happy because I'm like, that was a point in time of like, we are waiting for the Force Awakens, and like I get to look at those things and like think to that specific month and like where I was in my life and like where I was living and all those things. So the objects, like as much as they do connect you to a piece of Star Wars history, also like personal history as well, and they
Mhm,
make you remember like when and where you were. Like all the stuff we buy at Celebration, like
mhm.
people cherish those things because they were bought at Celebration, right?
Yeah,
And there's a different thing of like buying it there versus like hopefully catching it at the sale afterwards. There's just like a different feel when you can actually hold and grab the thing and like walk back to your hotel room with it and then like lay it on your bed and be like, ah, yeah,
yeah.
this is cool. I
No,
love this.
I agree because there is a Force Awakens popcorn tin that is taking too much space in our kitchen cabinet, and I refuse to put it away in the garage. I just feel like it needs to be in my kitchen because it completely reminds me of the night that Star Wars was back. I was able to experience it for the first time. My husband was able to experience his first Star Wars trilogy, so it was just a really special time for us. So yeah, that Force Awakens popcorn tin is not going anywhere. It's staying in my kitchen, and I don't have room for it. I will make room, but it's just something that just reminds me, yeah, just a really important time in my life. Um, and I think we can agree that sometimes Star Wars really brightens up, those moments for us.
Oh, definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely.
I don't know where I'd be without Star Wars this last couple of years.
Same,
Like,
same, same,
what would we
same.
have been
Thank
doing?
goodness.
Well, well, where would I have been?
Yeah,
Thinks about all the time I've spent on Star Wars that I could be doing other things
yeah, right.
theoretically.
So, amongst all the things that you've collected and thrifted, and like, is there a certain era of Star Wars merchandise that you love more than others, or like you just totally revere? And like, anytime you find a piece of it, you're like, I have to get that like automatically, just because whether it's the packaging or again, like the personal connection, like what's really the thing that like you jump on?
For me, it's anything Phantom Menace because of the packaging. I love that Darth Maul feel to it on each packaging. I love the fact that things are just there's some weird stuff that you find. You can find a Jar Jar Skittle dispenser, and that's really cool. So that just really reminds. I don't know. I think that might be a time where I was really introduced to Star Wars, and I just love the prequel era, but also I'm an adult and I can just pick it up if I want to. I don't have to ask, maybe my parents for it. So I can never say no to that. Lately, I've been really fascinated with Wicket the Ewok merch. So any post Return of the Jedi, they have that Wicket, the Ewok line, in between Return of the Jedi and the Ewok cartoons. They just really, I don't know, I think just like the way the art of the Ewoks are just so cute and vintage looking. I just really fascinated with it. I'm holding up a Wicket the Ewok nightlight that I found at a flea market.
Oh my god.
I know our listeners can't physically see this, but I am showing them. He's scary in a way, but it's cute.
He's
But you can kind of
adorable.
yeah, you can kind of see the it's Wicket the Ewok. So post Return of the Jedi, there's this era where Star Wars is, finished, but they were really, really honing in on Wicket the Ewok. So that was their moneymaker right there. So I'm just really fascinated with that line. And just like, if you can see kind of like the vintage looking aspect of it. So that's what I
Yeah.
really, so I go back and forth. I go back and forth where I can never say no to anything Phantom Menace. I also go through little phases like this Wicket the Ewok line I'm just fascinated with. So I just go through different phases, but I always will always have a soft spot for anything Phantom Menace, no matter what. Just because there's
Mhm.
just such a broad, there's just so many things that they came out with. I'm talking, about Watto pencil sharpeners, or the fact that, they had this whole KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut,
The
big promotion
cups.
was wild. So anything like that, I think, again, because that just really connects to my childhood and just how massive it is, and it's just completely everywhere. It was considered a failure, all that merch, because there was such a backlash with those movies that they made so much merchandise that a lot of that stuff went on clearance. So there's just like abundance of that stuff just laying around, whether it's in people's garages, or storages that have, believe it or not, will see the light in 2022 after years of being in a storage. Some of the things that I find in the condition that they're in, it's just like as if like they just came out of a Toys R Us toy shelf, which is so wild. But
It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I'm a prequel kid, who's a prequel adult now, and will make room for any Phantom Menace particular merch that's out. So
My friend, she was like, "I got you something for your birthday." I was like, "Oh, you didn't need to do that." And she goes, "No, no, no, it's okay." And then she gave it to me. I opened it once I got home, and it is a new in box Queen Amidala, beautiful condition figure. And I was like, "Yep, no, I did need this. Thank you so much." because because it was just so beautiful. She goes, "I saw it at the store. I saw it at the thrift store, and I said somebody in my life definitely needs to have this." So I was so glad she picked it up, because now it sits lovingly in my room, where I
yes.
will never take it out of the box, because she's just so beautiful sitting there. Do you find yourself somebody who's like, "I'll take it out of the box. I'll take it out of the packaging and set it up," or "No, we're keeping it in the packaging. The packaging is part of the experience"?
You know what? I don't know. I'm like, I don't have a preference. It's just how I feel that day. I know there's a lot of like collectors who are just very like, don't take it. I've posted things on Instagram where I'm taking things out of the box, and people, mainly men, who are yelling at me like, why are you gonna take
Mhm.
it out of the box? Blah blah blah. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I do because this is how I'm feeling at the moment. I don't know. It depends. I go back and forth. It just really depends of how I feel. Sometimes I see something where I'm just like, wow, I just really needed to kind of display this because I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I don't know. I just feel like I think about Toy Story a lot, how like these toys are meant to be out of the box.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I get, the collector side where like you should keep it and forever. Again, I don't when I'm collecting stuff, I don't think about how it's going to be worth tons and later on in the future. So I don't care the condition. By the way, when I go to flea markets and thrift stores, the condition's already crap, so it
Right,
doesn't
right.
matter. So if a box is completely damaged, then I'll just take it out because
Yeah.
there's just no really point in keeping it. Yeah, I'm just not that type of collector that really like wants to preserve like the condition of everything. Yeah, so it's just really my mood.
I'm one of those people, I'll say, where like when I was growing up, I was never somebody who would put the sticker on the notebook. I was never somebody who was like, let's, you know, cut up the bottom of the shirt, and make it a little fringe shirt or anything. I was not that person. I was like the condition. I'm not a holes in jeans person. I feel like this is probably saying a lot more than I'm trying to say about myself. But like, I am just like somebody who's like, the way I get it is the way that it must stay. And for that reason, if I get something in the box, it stays in the box unless the box like looks like crap. Otherwise, I will get two and then take one out of the box for
Yes,
that sort of
Hula
purpose,
too.
and then
Mhm.
keep one in the box. I was at I go to Half Price Books, and that's where I find my Star Wars finds. I have a route I take when I'm in the Half Price Books. We go around the toy corner. There's often new Star Wars toys there. I often pick up something if it's under $10. Then we go down the science fiction fantasy aisle, where at the end there are the Star Wars books. Last time was a very unimpressive selection. Shame on them. And then I go over to the movies and I see if there are any reference books or anything. But I found the Revenge of the Sith figures. Somebody had given them a whole set. The ones that have like the box that's shaped like Vader and it's kind of curved. Okay, Vader's helmet. I love that box so much. And so I found a Bail Organa and I bought him. And I was like, this is my treat to myself. Thank you, me. And then I was digging around in my boxes in the basement and I had an out of box Bail Organa. The same one. Go. And so now I have two. One's in the box. One is out of the box. Both are in my room displayed. I am thriving.
Yeah. Those Revenge of the Sith boxes are just so iconic. So
I love them.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I love them.
I was just telling Sarah the story and I posted this on Twitter about lining up at midnight at Toys R Us, which like rest in peace, Toys R Us. Such an experience. Like the Revenge of the Sith was when I was really like conscientious of what was happening with Star Wars and like, you know, being on like AOL and like waiting for the teaser trailer to load. Like I remember like all those like bits and pieces of leading up to that movie and the merch specifically, like seeing the leaked packaging of it like on like the hyperspace fan boards and being like, oh my God, Anakin's fighter, like this is the leaks. I was looking through emails like with my brother. I'm like, look at this image of Anakin's Jedi Starfighter that leaked based on the toy. Like I was in the leaks as a kid.
Yeah.
And getting to go to
I love
seriously, that. I literally don't believe it, but if your brother's involved, I maybe do believe it.
What?
And so going to Toys R Us at midnight for the Rots toy release and just like walking in that store and seeing like the rows and rows of that packaging was so cool. And also the guys who sped through the parking lot beforehand and went nerds, like straight out of The Simpsons, but the police pulled them over right away. And everybody in line was cheering. They're like, you know, woohoo, yeah, we're nerds. We're going to go buy some toys now. But I got to say though, like being an adult now, like we've kind of alluded to it a couple times and getting to spend our own adult money on things is like, it's really cool. It's kind of cool. Like I look at all the stuff I bought and I'm like, I worked and I like bought those things. It was pretty cool. I didn't have to ask my parents for money. I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The Phantom Menace packaging though, I have to say, like we were talking about it beforehand, like the pictures with Leonardo DiCaprio, like collecting in a shopping cart, like all the Phantom Menace merch. Like he's got a lot of stuff in that shopping cart.
As he should.
I love that photo. That's probably my favorite photos ever. That's a reference photo of who I need to be.
The fact that he auditioned for Anakin Skywalker too, like adds so many other layers to it.
I did not know this until literally right now.
Yeah, he almost played Anakin. Yeah,
to be Anakin in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
wow. Okay, I'm gonna think
He's
about that.
He's a true nerd at heart.
I don't think I knew this. Wow,
but also speaking to
a lot of stuff. Like, don't worry about it.
And also too, the Phantom Menace was like the era of the comm chips and like the comm chip readers.
I love those.
Which like those, do you still have any of those little comm chips like from your figures?
Yeah, I do. There's some in packaging, but there's some that I've found a few that were loose in like a random box, you know, when I'm, you know, thrifting and stuff like that, but I can never pass those up. I think those are so cool. Ironically, I do not have the actual comm chip reader yet. I just have I don't have the actual reader that can read these, you know, I just have a lot of them that, you know, aren't doing anything, but I love them. I just think those are so, you know, I don't know, just imagine being a kid like that's just like so interactive, like as a toy, like plug this in and you know you get to hear the character talk. So I love those things are so cool. I think those are just I think that really just identifies with like that era of merch is those those readers.
Yeah.
So much so that Nerd Matters made a pin of them and you can get the different comm chips. And then I know Travis from Force Time was giving away them in little
keychains. Yes.
keychains. I got Odie Mantel. So that was
So good.
fun too. But yeah, very very iconic, and they all come all the way around to the Last Jedi era toys, where I don't know what Force Tech. I think
Force Link. I think it was called Force Link. Yeah,
Yeah,
Force
it's
Link.
the same kind of vibe, except like for the chip, you really just get the character close to your Force Link wristband, and then it'll say lines. Yes, I do have both the wristband and a character. I've got Kylo, so I can put him.
Sarah, you know, you got to have one open and one to have in a box. Yes.
Well, I've only got the one of those, and that was a prize pack, I think, from Star Wars. So I probably wouldn't have bought it otherwise, but I have it now. So
Speaking to like out of box, inbox, I've always struggled with that because some of the packaging is just so nice, like especially the vintage collection right now. Like some of the pictures they choose for the packaging and the characters, I'm just like, I don't want to ruin it. It looks so nice, but there's also the feeling of like, oh, I got to free them. And you're so right about Toy Story 2. And now I'm kind of sad looking at all my Funko Pops downstairs that are not even facing outward. They're facing inward, sideways. They don't even see the light. Oh, Jesus.
That's how many he has, ladies and gentlemen.
I gotta free them. I gotta free them. Oh my gosh.
They're not even facing the light.
I have to say too, you mentioned Power of the Force figures. Like those were so cool. I think that's also like one of my favorite. That was when I really began with like action figures, and that was mostly like a lot of my brother's figures that he had the packaging for, like both the green one and like the red and orange one. But I began as a collector, like, or getting action figures through Phantom Menace as well. So I have a special place. But also the Power of the Force ones, they came with those little movie stills, like some of them. You remember how they like used to come with like actual reels from the film in the bottom of the box, which was so cool. I actually have one, and it's like a Gamorrean guard, which is like super random. I don't know where I got it from.
Those figures also came in like they were really buff. Do you remember? Their upper body were just like abnormally like, this is very not proportioned correctly and weird, but sure.
What year were those? What year were those released?
I want to say
95. Okay,
95, right? Okay.
That is
I think it's like right before the special editions, right around.
That is totally par for the course for the mid 90s in toys. Like if you look at GI Joes of the same era, they look just
a lot of
as buff.
Also, like wrestling, like big, like wrestling figures were huge in the 90s. So they're like, look at our Luke Skywalker. His, he has insane triceps, and it's pretty funny.
I would love to like go back and interrogate those decisions and like be a fly on the wall and how they made those decisions to like make these characters this buff, and then everybody kind of following along. Does anybody know about history of the buff action figure? I need to, if you do, please tweet me. I'm not joking. I need to know.
I would like to know too. Imagine just being in that room and like pitching the action figures, and sometimes when they pitch stuff, they have like the real side by side of what the character looks like. The characters do not look at all what these figures look like, but hey, whatever, let's just pack it up and look like they were just on. I mean, I'm telling you, these figures were like buff. It's insane.
Yeah.
I feel like it had to have been all men in that room being like, guys, like Luke Skywalker's super buff, like he's gotta work out, man. And everyone's like, and there's not a single other non-man in that room, non-male in that room going like, maybe not.
Nope.
And that brings us all the way to today, where we only have 2 Padme Funko Pops. It's the men of yesterday influencing everybody of today, I guess.
It's very upsetting how there's lack of Padme figures even today, where it's like, you mean to tell me the Star Wars character who has, I don't know, 25 on screen different outfit choices, we cannot have
literally at least
a variety of Padme merch anywhere. It's truly bizarre. It's sad that okay, sure, give me another stormtrooper, I guess. Sure, why not? But It's wild.
It's genuinely really frustrating because now we have had 2 anniversary years for the prequel films, and there has still been a surprising lack of Padme merch. And it's, we get it from her universe, great. We get it from, Box Lunch, which is also they're both owned by Hot Topic, so it's the same thing, really, great. But like, that's it. That's it. There's no figures. There's no Funkos. There's really no T-shirts in the Celebration store that feature her. It's surprising to me because, like, women have a lot of buying power as themselves, as mothers who buy for children, like as people. Women are buying a lot. So it feels like a missed opportunity for the capitalism of it all, but also like just for our collections. Because I'm not saying every woman loves Padme or the only people that like Padme are women, but there is certainly an overlap in that Venn diagram. But like, I know that if there was more official merchandise for Padme, I would be collecting more official merchandise for Padme outside of the vintage stuff. Like if it continues to come out, like I do not purchase Funko Pops for myself, and I immediately pre-ordered the Power of the Force Funko Pop. They're reusing the same names now. Power of the Force is because I didn't want to say Women of the Force. I would have perhaps fought, but it's fine. Power of the Force Funko Pop that features my favorite Padme outfit. I don't know if they know this. If anybody from Lucasfilm was listening to this podcast episode, please know I will buy just about anything where Padme is wearing this outfit. I really, really am a sucker for this outfit.
You know what? I collect a lot of vintage T-shirts of Star Wars T-shirts, and mainly like vintage, meaning from either like the 80s up until like the 90s, mainly like Phantom Menace. Those are just like very popular T-shirts, and like the Depop reselling landscape of like vintage T-shirt streetwear is such a big that's just totally in style right now. I will say the most popular Star Wars shirt, vintage T-shirt, which is considered a grail, is the Padme Amidala T-shirt, and that goes like for $600 a T-shirt on eBay, on Depop, on Grailed. That shirt is just considered just the ultimate get, because even in 1999, where they were promoting this Queen Amidala, who was like just a big they were just promoting this brand new character. Even then, there was very little merch, I feel like, even when promoting. There's a lot of Darth Mauls, a lot of Jar Jar Binks, a lot of, Jedi, but there was Padme just really there wasn't much of it. And a lot of her vintage T-shirts, things are just worth a lot. I mean, you can look at a vintage Queen Amidala lunchbox on eBay, and they go for about $60. I'm talking about a Phantom Menace lunchbox. And even then, there's just lack of. And then we're in a time right now where, I feel like the fan base is really vocal of please give us more Padme, and we're still not getting any. I was getting a little excited when they mentioned this Hot Toys Phantom Menace lineup that they were going to release. And no, they wanted to give me other things and not Padme. I was just like, really like, come on, what's happening here?
It's confusing. It's just confusing because it's like, okay, I was a kid when these movies came out. I did not have the buying power. I did not have my own money at all. Now I have it and I want to give it to you, but no Padme merch, no merch of the characters that I'm really hunting for things for. Guess that's more money in my wallet because I really don't need a Stormtrooper figure. And that's just me. And no shade to people who love Stormtrooper figures, because more power to you. Keep on buying them. They'll keep making them, But it's a bit frustrating, I think. I don't know if you feel this in like the collecting community from where you're positioned as like a thrifter and that sort of stuff. But if you find that the collecting community is more male dominated, and if you feel like welcome in that space, or I don't know where I'm going with that question, because like, I guess what I'm trying to get out on my end is sometimes I feel like it's not a space for me to be in. because I don't already have like the built-in collection. I don't have the same interests as what you think when you think of like a collector in the Star Wars
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I really had the way I had to navigate to that was really I had like some weird DMs sometimes, like saying like, "Why are you collecting that? That's not really worth much." Again, it goes back to my point of like I'm not really doing it because of what's going to be worth. That's not why I collect. It's more like what brings me happy. I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you something. I have I do not pass up any Padme Amidala. Those are the actually figures I do not take out of the box. Those are the ones that stay in the box. Um, and they may not be worth much online, but they bring me joy. And I love to highlight those on like my, my Instagram and stuff like that because I genuinely, I mean, this can be worth $3 on eBay, but I am just like really showing it off because it brings me joy. So sometimes, yes, I will get it is, the collecting world is, it is kind of like mainly like male dominated, you know, in those spaces sometimes where I felt in the beginning where I was kind of confused as far as like where do I really fit in, where I really want to share my collection, but I'm told like, "Oh, you're not a real collector because you don't collect it, like this," or,
Mm-hmm.
so it was really confusing sometimes. So that's where I really just try and create a space where everyone can just really just collect things that they just genuinely love. I just actually was talking to a collector who started, we just started talking online who just really likes collecting like coupons and like just different like magazine clippings of Star Wars. And I thought that was really cool. I just feel like that's a pretty cool niche that you have. But I feel like, yeah, in the beginning, I was really just getting a little discouraged because I just felt like, well, am I not collecting right? But this is why I like to collect is because this is what brings me joy. So yeah, I've kind of learned how to just kind of really ignore the fact that I get like some random DMs of like, oh, that figure doesn't really cost much. Or even like at the flea market, I'll pick something up and they'll be like, oh, that's not really worth much anyway. And it was just like, "Ugh, okay, well, one, I didn't ask your opinion, and two,
Mm-hmm.
who cares?" But yeah, so I don't know. I just again, it was just really tough navigating in the beginning, but I've just kind of had to like really learn just to kind of like own it. But honestly, anyone can collect. Like if you want to collect Funko Pops, that's freaking awesome. Stormtroopers, that's so cool. Like, or this person I just met who loves to literally genuinely like collect like random coupon magazine clippings of Star Wars. I think that's freaking awesome. That's like such like a niche that like I don't have like would not even think to do. But honestly, if it brings you much joy, like then that's you're considered a collector no matter what. Um, you know, so I have friends who love just collecting Disney mugs. Like I think that's rad also. There's no set rule what defines you as a collector. If you like
Yeah.
to grab something that's a physical representation of what you love, then that's you're a collector.
Mhm.
There's no set rule, but because of the space, of like, men have man caves and this is their collection and this is how it's supposed to look. And it's like, cool. That's just how it is. But anyone can be a collector. And again, it's just what really just, makes you happy. And yeah, I think in the beginning I struggled with that a little bit because I really wanted to fit in. I wanted to find a space in like a community to talk about collecting, but a lot of it was really like male dominant, and it was just really hard to be like, look at my Padme dolls. So, but
Yeah, I think also like from my perspective, and I recognize some of the male dominance in the collecting realm, and how there sometimes feels like there's if you don't collect every Black Series, like you're not the right type of collector or these sorts of things. And I think you guys are talking like making really great points of like I think one, you don't have to collect anything to be a Star Wars fan. Like let's put that first and foremost, right? Like if you love Star Wars, you don't collect a single thing from the franchise, you're a Star Wars fan. Like, collecting or not collecting. Um, but yeah, I think like you talking about your friend that just has like newspaper clippings, like that's so cool. Like if you like you said, if you find your thing, like if you find your niche, if that's all you want to collect, like yeah, that is totally valid. And I think we need to like, as a fandom, kind of show more grace and like respect towards people who collect different types of things. If that's what brings them joy, it's like kind of, it's just respectful, right? And it's also cool seeing what people collect. Like I didn't know that was a thing people collect, like I didn't even know pin collecting was a thing until I went to Star Wars Celebration, which like I think I should have known that sooner in my life, but I'm like outing myself here a little bit by saying like I didn't know that. But Sarah was like the first one that really talked to me about like pin collecting, and I was like, that's so cool. And now I collect pins too, like when I go to Celebration, and I try to see how many I can get when I'm there. So
Yeah.
I think you both are making like really great points, and it's interesting to hear like what your experience has been like jumping into that collecting realm and like that collecting fandom in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say on my end, when I was like a college student and I really couldn't buy a lot, I would see kind of what you think of when you think of a collector in the very stereotypical sense. And I would say, no, okay, I'm not buying that. I'm rejecting that. My fandom doesn't need that. And it's one way to be like, okay, well, Sarah, you don't have to buy things. Don't pressure yourself to buy things. But it was also like, I'm paving my own path by not doing this. Now that I have the ability to buy things, I collect Rostico stuff. I just love
Yeah.
Rostico so much.
I love that.
And I found the great thing about Rostico stuff is that they're not really highly valued monetary wise. So I'm purely doing it off of my own joy for the character and my love for Kelly Marie Tran. And they're affordable generally for me. So that's great. It works out for me. But I just want to say, like, I really appreciate your platform and the space that you're carving out in collecting and thrifting, because when I found, I think, your Instagram initially, I was like, oh my gosh, she's having a great time. The presence you put out on social media is like, look at this fun, silly, cool thing that I found for, 50 cents. How fun is that? And it was more about, it felt more about the joy of the find and like, look at this fun, cool thing, as opposed to like, look at this high value item that is it's going to have high resale value, and that's awesome too. But there's also sometimes like a money buy-in to get that. You have to be able to have a certain amount of money in order to purchase that item in the first place so you can resell it, and not everybody has that the money to start that sort of collection. So I found the thrifting aspect of what you do to be so much fun, because it's like, no, you don't have to have the major funds to start a collection or to enjoy in items like within the Star Wars fandom. You can just find something fun and get going. So just want to say I really appreciated that. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for being here.
No, I honestly really appreciate that. Yeah, I really started to really share my Instagram page at the beginning of the pandemic, where I was, at home. I never really considered myself in Star Wars fandom. I really wasn't. I just knew I liked the movies, never really got into it. But of course, I was quarantined at home. What really brought me comfort was watching Star Wars. Okay, where can I expand my love of Star Wars? All right, let me get into these books. All right, what else is out there? All right, cool. Let me go on social media. Okay, there's podcasts. It's awesome. And the next thing you know, I'm looking at stuff. It's like, wow, how can I bring something to the table? Not a writer. I'm not good at cosplay. I am not an artist. And I really, really, I just have an appreciation for artists and for those people who love Star Wars who can express their way in that. Well, I really like this thrifting thing and I really like Star Wars. So let me just kind of just post little random stuff that I find at a thrift store. And I think really like the response that I got out of that was really just, I would get random DMs saying, wow, I forgot that even existed. You just brought me, you reminded me of my childhood, and that's really awesome. And I felt like I was able to kind of connect to, again, wanting to be part of a community, and just really connecting that way. But also just like really, I wanted to express my love for something and maybe in turn give a little bit of happiness in the world, since we were not feeling it at the moment, with a little silly Jar Jar Binks alarm clock. And it was a perfect way for me to connect and meet friends. But honestly, I don't do it for like, look at this super rare thing that I found. It's cool when that happens. Doesn't,
Oh,
doesn't
definitely.
it's cool when it happens, trust me.
Sarah can attest with the glow in the dark Obi-Wan pop that she owns, and I definitely won't steal from her house when I go to C2E2 and a
Yep,
couple
there you
months.
go. Exactly.
house.
So you better lock it up then. You better lock it up. Yeah. So
Put it
honestly,
in a safe. I'm telling you now. This is
yeah,
your first and last warning.
It is the
Yeah.
only Funko I've ever bought before the Padme Funko, and because I had
but
like
I-
won the lottery to do it, and it
Yeah.
turns out it's like a very, very prized, sought after Funko Pop, and I'm just laughing to myself because I was like, I don't collect these. Like this isn't my
Yeah.
lane. Like, but
And there you go.
I love him, and he brings me joy, and then he glows at night. Just
Yeah,
a faint little glow.
I love that. See, honestly, it just, again, I always say the force wills it, and there you go. Now you have it.
Right.
I just love Star Wars. I love thrifting. I love friends. I love meeting new friends. Love hanging out with y'all. Love Star Wars, and collecting's cool too. And it's a space for everyone. So, yes.
Oh yeah. I will say while we were chatting, I was behind the scenes pulling up all the Padme stuff I could find. There's quite a bit. Like there was quite a bit of Padme stuff like during the time of like Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace. Like you have like Wedding Padme. There's a vintage collection of like Padme at dinner, like the Naboo courtship it's called. There's a vintage of Padme Amidala Coruscant. I don't know if these are part of the vintage collection or if they're just specifically like the original packaging for Kenner. Mostly, yeah, the two Funko Pops. I mean, there's compared to like what you can find, it's still not enough, right? And there's like overwhelmingly like so many other toys that are like just clone troopers, or it's like how many clone troopers can you do, or like how many stormtroopers can you do? It's like we gotta at some point get through all of Padme's outfits. Like we should have the when Liberty Dies outfit in the vintage collection. Like we got the Funko Pop now, which is perfect, but we got to get the vintage collection because that would look amazing. I will say Sideshow does have a $4,000 Queen Amidala in throne room statue. So very
yes.
accessible. Very, very accessible. But I will say too, I don't know if you saw the silver, but they're doing a hot toy for Padme in the Geonosian arena for Attack of the Clones. So they're doing like they're doing like
new?
their Attack of the Clones. It was at like San Diego Comic-Con, I think last year. They had a case full of hot toys, and Sideshow has been releasing them.
But I guess the question is like, has there been any updates to that one since like 2019?
There hasn't. Well, I think it was unveiled last year they unveiled it. Or people took photos of it somewhere.
I'm seeing a 2019 one.
Rolling. Is it 2019?
I swear.
Well,
it's really that long ago.
Yeah,
wow.
because they just when they promoted Hot Toys was coming out with an Attack of the Clones line, I want to say maybe 2 weeks before Celebration, and I was, really excited for it. But I swear, I mean, they had like the battle droid of Attack of the Clones. They had C-3PO, but I didn't see anything, Padme. I think I want to say Jango Fett was in there.
Yeah, Jango Fett was the last one they announced. So I'm hoping that Padme will be next.
And what's
like
cool,
they have a figure.
Yeah, what's cool about Hot Toys and Sideshow, they have they do like a payment plan. So they're like, here, you can pay this, and then we'll ship it out after you pay it off, which is nice for those who cannot just drop hundreds of dollars on a figure. There's this Star Wars Legacy collection. I forgot what year it came out. They go for about $80. And I went to a toy show recently, and I just thought maybe a toy show, if I find it, they would not know the eBay prices. But I saw, and sure enough, they were charging $90 for this set.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
is that the Evolution set where it has like outfit from each of her movies? Yeah. Oh man. That's a nice set.
Yeah,
there's some good Padme stuff out there. Like you can find it, but it should not be this hard to find. You know what I mean? Like, and it shouldn't be behind like an $80 to $90 paywall, right? And so I just wish there were more things for Padme, and even not like action figures. Like I think when we talk about like the fandom talks about collecting, and like a lot of the conversation is around Funko Pops and like Black Series right now, because that is like what is kind of all that's coming out. And I know Caitlin has talked about this from Sky Talkers before on her Twitter, how she wishes there were more of like a diversity of things coming out from Star Wars that just wasn't Funko Pops and Black Series. Like I don't know, like something for people to collect that isn't necessarily like, the plastic box with the toy inside.
I'm very
And I think
upset.
that'd be cool.
I should have brought this. I have like 3 catalogs from 1999. I have a Toys R Us catalog, a JCPenney catalog, and a Target catalog from 1999, all Phantom Menace merchandise. I should have brought it so I can just flip through some of the pages. But I mean, they had toothbrush sets, they had bedding wear, you can buy whole bed sets, pillowcases, they had curtains of Star Wars, and yeah, I just wish it was kind of, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's always, not to mention the Black Series figures, you pre-order it, they don't come for like another year. So it's like, it's just not
Did it
even.
always used to be like that? Or
Yeah.
is it just because of like the supply chain stuff right now that's like causing? Because as soon as I got into collecting, I feel like all that started. And then it's like you order a pop and you don't get it until
I
like
feel I want
9
to,
months.
yeah, I don't know when I mean, just things are just taking forever. Also, like, can we just have a
Yeah.
Ben Solo figure already, please, people?
It, mm.
Did I struck a nerve?
Do I?
The Funko Pop sold out. The Funko Pop sold out the same day,
Yeah.
that it dropped. So I feel like a Black Series,
I think we're ready.
they're missing a huge market there.
We're ready for a Black Series.
I think the thing is, like, there is a market for all of this stuff, and it just needs to connect with its people, and I think the people behind it all say, oh, well, when we do sell this, it doesn't sell as well as the Stormtrooper, Stormtrooper 1000. Yeah. And it's a bit frustrating to me, as you can kind of tell. Cause it's like, well, not all of them has to sell as well as the Stormtrooper, but that doesn't mean that these other characters, these other fans shouldn't also be catered to, or have, some of their favorite things, in like a physical figure or other sort of merchandise form. Yeah, I have some thoughts. I mean, talking about the power of the Force, talking about Padme, talking about Padme like merchandise today in 2022 and 2019. It all kind of it's a linear sort of situation as to understanding how we got here, how it's still how this sort of masculine perception of like what collecting ought to be, or what collecting looked like, or what the collector looks like. I mean, it plays into like why Rey wasn't included in the Star Wars: The Force Awakens Monopoly, or whatever, despite being the main character of the film. And yeah, the idea within the entertainment industry that like one woman is saturation enough for the market. I love Cal Kestis more than anything I can say. He's a sweet baby boy, would do anything for him. But like the developers of Jedi Fallen Order are saying, well, we considered going with like a woman protagonist, but the games or the movies already had Rey. You're like, oh, you would not be saying that if if it were a male protagonist in that movie. So it's interesting to me because it is all connected. And I do think that in some ways it does all work to make the lesser dominant, person that's represented in toy collecting have a little bit higher of a barrier to cross into kind of feeling comfortable in the space. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. I don't want the grumpy vibes here, but
no, you're not rambling. No.
Yeah, I really appreciate like the positive, joyful space that you create, because like I don't think everybody's working to create that sort of space around collections.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I honestly, I really try. I think collecting's for everyone. And we should be able to celebrate things that we love without, being told we're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
oh, you don't love something like I do because you're not collecting it. Like, you're not doing the every wave of the Black Series figures. It's like, no, my guy, I just really genuinely just like to get things that are, secondhand and that have Jar Jar Binks on it. And it makes me happy. So whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah.
For me, I'm the type of collector to, I mean, I say this as I have like 200 Funko Pops,
At
but
least.
it's a problem because I'm like, I only collect the things that really I love. So I'm like, okay, I love Loki, so I'm going to buy all the Loki Pops. But it's like, okay, but I love Star Wars. I can't just buy all the Star Wars Pops.
Yeah.
Gotta really like focus and figure out what,
See, you just have to find yourself a niche interest. Like I just enjoy Rose Tico stuff.
Yeah, Rose Tico. I go through phases too, I just like again, like I can never say no to a Padme merch. I can never say no to anything that says pod race on it.
Did
But
you
yeah,
did you get the Her Universe Pod Race jacket or box lunch from Celebration?
I got something similar to that actually recently.
Okay.
And I actually got the Celebration 1999 pod racing jacket that they sold at Celebration.
Nice.
oh,
Nice.
wow.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and I got
That
left
that.
to
sounds
do.
cool.
And what's so cool? I didn't even look for it. I'm telling you, people will send me stuff like, oh, check this out. I think you'll like it. I got it on Poshmark for $18. That thing goes for like over $200 on eBay. So
Nice.
I got to give it up to Vacation Trooper on Instagram, who kindly enough messaged me and said, hey, you should really check this out. I think you'll like it. It was free shipping, y'all. So I spent $18. Yeah, no, but I do love, that Her Universe. Again, we're celebrating prequels around this time. So it's, yeah, I love it. But yeah, no, I go through phases. I mean, it's mainly like, I rather collect like characters. Really, like I can never say no to a certain character, that I have to get. Like,
Yeah, my brother's like anything Leia Funko he
yeah.
buys. That's pretty much all he does for Star Wars.
Mhm. Yeah, same. We
It's
can't.
really tough right now because it's like we're in the prequel renaissance, like you said. So I'm like, oh, like prequel merch, like sign me up, like retro merch. Like I'm eyeballing some of these old Padme figures. So I got to put my credit card away after this episode. But it's tough when you're like, oh, I love the prequels, so I'll buy prequel stuff. But there's 3 movies, and there's so much within all of those. It's rough. Like the prequel renaissance, like I love it, but like also like you're tempting my wallet a little too much.
Oh yeah, no.
So last couple months.
Do you have like a most favorite or a couple of favorite items in your collection, or like just favorite finds, something that was just really exciting to find at the bottom of a bin or something?
Let's see. It's really hard I know I get asked this question a lot and it's just really difficult. But I gotta say a favorite find that I've had that always sticks with me is this Boba Fett bust. And I wish I could bring it down, but it's really fragile. Anyways, somebody was giving it away on Craigslist for $15. It's this 1996 elusive Boba Fett. It's made out of latex, so it's very fragile. And it kind of deteriorates with time, but he kept it in really nice condition. Again, I really wasn't a big Boba Fett fan, I guess, when I got it 2 years ago. But I don't know if I'm a big Boba Fett. I think I have a better appreciation for him, I guess. But I mean, again, it was a crazy find because this was pretty rare. And I thought that was exciting for me because I think that was like my big like rare thing that I was able to find at a decent price. And I made my sister drive with me. Like we drove 2 hours for him. Again, don't know what we're doing. I just said, hey, just drive with me to go pick this thing up. I think that was a cool find just because again, it was a little rare. The fact that I was in nice condition for just how fragile it is. And the fact that I made my sister go drive with me 2 hours to pick it up. I was wild, thought it was cool. So that was a pretty neat experience. I think that is probably a favorite find of mine. I will say an interesting thing that I kind of, another one would say, I found these little cute pit droids that I'm holding up. They're just so cute. And they're just really adorable. I actually have 6 of these. Um,
I
they
would just put
were
those everywhere in my house.
Yeah, they're actually really cute. These are in front of my computer. I have a couple more like on like my, in my living room, like where my bookshelf's at, just kind of sitting there. I found these guys at a garage sale. It was like a big box of just random toys. And then I dug through them and then I found 6 of them. So they're quite cute. It's one of those like, again, probably not worth much, but when you're at a garage sale, and then again, I was at the right place at the right time to find something as adorable as pit droids. Yeah, those were kind of special for me. But honestly, I think I just feel like I've been lucky enough to kind of have some crazy interesting finds that are always, I feel like they're all special to me, just because again, I just happened to be at this random flea market that Saturday at 2 p.m. and they happen to be there. Again, just it's always, for me, it's always a special thing for me each time.
I love the resurgence of the pet droid, by the way, like popping up everywhere, like Mando, Book of Boba Fett. It feels like a quintessential prequel thing,
Yes. Hit
how they
the
always fall
nose.
over,
Yep.
and it's just, oh man.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, all Mandoverse like criticisms aside, like John Favreau has been like, no, the prequels exist, and we're gonna like appreciate them
Yep.
in the year 2022.
I
I
agree.
cannot believe we have an N1 starfighter back in Star Wars. It's just crazy. Do you have a ridiculous thrift find, like something that just made you go like, this is so absurd, like I can't believe I'm actually buying this right now. I'm gonna regret this, but I'm also not gonna regret this sort of vibe.
It's hard to say that I regret anything. Actually, yeah, I do have this like, it's from like 1977. It's this like Chewbacca bath soap that is still in the box.
No.
It's not used. It's not
Oh,
used. Everyone, a
Oh my
disclaimer,
gosh.
disclaimer.
screen
It is
used.
not pre-used. It's still in its box.
That's so
It's one of
funny.
those like, I don't need this. Why am I getting it? Doubt I'm going to use it. I'm pretty sure if it hits water, it's going to disintegrate. There's no need for this, but I'm going to get it because it's so strange. That's one of them. Um, I have this also from 1977, the Darth Vader costume set, which only fits a kid if you're between the ages of 5 and 6. Listeners, I am not between the ages of 5 and 6. So I will not be wearing this ridiculous costume. The costume is scary. Darth Vader looks like horrendous, like he's traumatizing. I don't know how that was,
Oh my
and it comes with
gosh.
a cape. You can tell it's like one of those things that like, wow, Star Wars is so huge and so big. We need to pump out merch as fast as we can. We did not expect this thing to become an overnight success. How could we get this on the shelves? Let's just throw a plastic Darth Vader mask and a yellow cape to go with it. And yeah,
Beautiful.
so I have it. Again, don't think I will ever use these things. Those are things that I just feel like, you know what, I cannot pass this up. This is kind of wild. Again, it just really just shows like just how like incredible, like just how like the progression of merchandise, so just like through time, just like some of the crazy vintage stuff, in the 70s and 80s of just like merchandise. Again, it's a different period of time, but just seeing just like the merchandise that was out. But I mean, I can't resist a weird thing, and those two things are quite weird.
Brad, do you have a favorite or a craziest find or any of these? Same questions to you.
Oh man. I can't think of a crazy find, but for me, finding a first print, first edition copy of The Art of Phantom Menace that was still shrink wrapped for
Yes.
$50 hardcover. I don't know if I paid too much for that book, but it felt like the fact that it was only $50 and it was shrink wrapped and like literally perfect condition. Like when I opened it, like I broke the seal. Like it was like that new. that for me stands out as probably my favorite. I can't think of anything else though besides that one at the top of my head. What about you?
My favorite thing in my entire collection is my art of the, or not art of, but the prequel archives by Paul Duncan. Finally getting that book was like one of the greatest moments ever, because I wanted it for so long, and it's 16 pounds. It's a foot and a half. It's a foot and a half wide by a foot tall, and it's 16 pounds, and it's magic. And I paid for it all by myself, and got it on sale, so that was great for me. And I know I didn't find it, I didn't search for it, but getting that sale was very gratifying for me. I think in terms of like thrift finds or stuff that I've found out and about, I love a good half-priced book. I love books. I love cheap books. And so I love, like, I found a perfect condition of Bloodline by Claudia Gray.
Nice.
So I am so happy to have that now. And yeah, I haven't found a lot of like crazy stuff. I did find, Brad, what did I send you recently? But we didn't. Oh, I found a dirge. Figure from the Clone Wars.
Yes.
I did not purchase him. He was $25, but just finding him was very exciting for me. I was like, oh, look at him. Yeah, like anytime.
Can I just say, if Dirge appears in The Mandalorian at any point, I will lose my mind.
Oh my gosh,
like that would be so cool.
We'll lose it too.
Oh, would love it. Sorry to interrupt, but I had to get that out there.
You're good. I feel like
manifests.
I feel like anytime I find a figure that I can get on the cheap for somebody else, like I got Savannah, a Zam Wessel figure that I found at Half Price Books that was priced really well, and I was like, Savannah, do you have this one? And she's like, no, and I'm like, it's yours. Congrats. So I think that's always really fun for me because I don't tend to find a lot out and about, just like my area. There's not a ton of stuff. Oh wait, I do have a couple others. They're also books. One of my greatest finds was somebody in my town posted on Facebook Marketplace that they had the hardcovers from the 90s of the original trilogy novelizations.
Ooh.
I think I paid $25 for all three of them. I go to this house. So I bring them home. They're in the little bag. I open one up. I don't know which one it was. Might have been Return of the Jedi. And inside of it is a card. And this card like says to my loveliest nephew. And it's dated 97 and it's to Lewis, I think is his name. And it was still in there. And that's the best part of the find, is that there's this random card from 1997 to this kid who may or may not have enjoyed these books, who is now, 20 years older, in the card, or in the book. And that was super fun. And then I also found an art of Revenge of the Sith for $5 on Facebook Marketplace, and I drove 45 minutes to go get it.
Yes. And I love these stories.
And they got like a milk delivery, so they had their milk delivery cooler on their front porch, and she was like, it'll be in the milk delivery cooler, please leave your cash there. Gosh. And that's how we did that.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
So that was really fun. I mean, these aren't super like exciting finds in terms of like, a super rare item, but they were the best. I love trolling through Facebook Marketplace to see what my local neighbors have put up for sale.
Hey, I'm telling you, everyone, keep a lookout for Facebook Market, especially heading into the summertime where people are just really just trying to downsize right now. That's where I get a lot of like my good finds for that. It's funny that you brought up a letter. I think actually have a whole box of like Legends paperbacks that I got for really cheap. Like, just, I haven't gone through a lot of them, but they're kind of in a box. But there is a book, Rebel Stand, from the New Jedi Order paperback. There was like a salmon dinner recipe written down in this book, and I was like,
amazing.
This is cool. I think someone just jotted down a recipe while they were reading Rebel Stand, and this is cool. I was like, maybe I'll make it sometime. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
See, that's what makes, I think, thrifting fun, is finding the history of the object and maybe understanding a sliver of something about the person who had it before. Yeah. So I love
I
that. I
agree.
love that recipe. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I do want to add one that I just remembered, and I can't believe I forgot it. But I own the entire collection of Burger King Star Wars glasses, and they're like brand new. These are from like 1977, 1980, and 1983.
How
So
did
You
you
have from
acquire
all yeah,
these?
you have all 3 trilogies?
yeah, so my mom, it was New Year's. I think it was New Year's. And we had a little bit to drink, like me and my family. We were all kind of partying late at night, and there was a crash in the sink, and I go, "Oh no!" And we go over, and it's the Return of the Jedi, the one singular Burger King glass that I'd had for so long. I think it was for
No.
my brother when he was alive at that time. The glass that shows Vader and Luke dueling in front of
Yeah.
the Emperor from
Mhm.
Burger King broke in the sink. And I was devastated because I was like, this is my favorite glass. I kind of got emotional. And I was like, oh my God, oh, it's broken. Because you can't find those things anymore, right? And my birthday was coming up a couple weeks later. So my mom, for my birthday, she didn't just replace the one glass that broke. She's like, I bought you the whole set. And
The
I'm like,
entire
I didn't
set.
even know there was a whole set. And I was like, this is the greatest gift ever. Like, there's an Ewoks glass. There's a
Mhm.
glass with Max Rebo and Sice Noodles on it. There's a Sarlacc glass, a Boba Fett glass. This is like one of my favorite things that I own. They're all like, I don't even use them that much because
Yeah.
I don't want to like ruin the paint on them, and they're just gorgeous. So yeah,
Those
I
def
love them.
yeah, those definitely those Burger King, first of all, I think Star Wars needs to really go back to collaborating, having, like, these
Yeah.
random fast food exclusives because 'cause they're so great.
I will go get
Ever
more fries if I need to go get more fries, you
listen,
know?
if you're gonna twist my arm and I have to go get more fries than to get a cup, yeah, I will do it. But, there's something so iconic and vintage about the, Burger King line, um, and that they sold it. And then, it bleeds into 1999 where they had like the plastic cups with the big head on top. And then even like in Revenge of
Yes.
the Sith, there was this Burger King collab too, where they had the watches,
Hmm.
the Revenge of the Sith watches. Every time you bought a combo, you can pay $5 to get like this watch. But yeah, those vintage. I'm telling you, I can go to a antique shop, and for a glass, they probably go range for about like $20 a glass. So
Yeah,
those are something nice to have.
I cherish the heck out of them. So I hope to display them one day, like properly and actually, yeah. So those are ones I'm looking at these images too of the watches, and this is a lot of fun. I forgot about these in the little tin cans that they came in. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that just unlocked a core memory for me. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Oh, sorry, only 1.99. So every time you purchase any value meal, so for an additional $1.99, you're able to get the watch with the tin
Oh,
can.
wait,
And
I want one. I want all of them.
Oh my gosh. And I love in the corner, own it on DVD, and it has the little Revenge of the Sith DVD.
yeah,
I own all the original DVDs, which I'm very
I
happy I
love
still have
I think
those.
everyone should. I don't know, there's just some really cool special features on those DVDs that aren't on Disney Plus. So
Mhm.
Yeah, what is with that?
I
It's
don't
so
know.
weird that they don't have those on Disney Plus. I'm just baffled. One thing that we've lost in the switch to digital is like the director's commentary and all that. Like, I would
Love
love a
those.
director's commentary for Obi-Wan Kenobi by Deborah Chow. Like, I think that'd be so cool. Like, have Joby
Absolutely.
Harold in there with her, like for like a even wider commentary. Like, have a couple commentaries. Um, I really want. I think some. Speaking of collecting, I think for me, owning like the media has been really important. Tross is the only movie I don't own, unfortunately. So I haven't completed my collection yet. But I have every movie, like all the seasons of Rebels, all the seasons of Clone Wars. And it's a bummer that we don't get like Mando and Obi-Wan Kenobi like on Steelbook or like 4K to have, because it's like all of our current Star Wars media is based around like, do you have a good internet connection and will you pay $7 a month to watch it, right? And so I wish maybe they would do something like an exclusive release where, maybe it's only available for 2 months and then it goes like into the Disney Plus vault, right? And then maybe they don't release it for a couple years or something, right? So I think they should do something like that. It's not like it's not getting torrented by people anyways, here and there, I'm sure. So like I don't think piracy should be that big of a concern because it's probably happening regardless. But
Yeah,
um
I agree.
that's my wish list right now.
No, I miss those. I miss having, like, I don't know, like there was something every time a DVD came out, my favorite thing was to go to the store, pick up the copy, and then rush home and then hit the special features because I
Oh
love
yeah.
seeing the deleted scenes. I love
Mhm.
seeing like all like the documentaries and things like that. And man, wouldn't it be awesome for us to own a physical copy of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Like,
For
I
real.
my goodness, like, I love that. That's another thing I just miss, like, the idea of physical media that just really, that we don't have anymore. Um, but
That's what I love about books is because no matter how many ebooks there are, like I don't think books will go away. And I say that and I knock on wood, but I
I
feel
like
like,
to be employed, so I hope not.
yeah, like books are one of those really special things that have somehow like survived the switch to
Mhm.
digital because I feel like when you go to a Best Buy, like, you can't find any DVDs or Blu-rays anymore. But you go to a Barnes and Noble and like independent bookstores, like you'll find so many
Yeah.
releases. Um, and for me, I've loved going back and getting like old Star Wars books. I blame Brandon from Talking Bay who kept always posting like his bookshelf photos, and I'm like, okay,
You
I
gotta up
gotta go
your
get some
game.
old books that
Mhm.
I don't have, So yeah, Sarah, you had some thoughts on books or physical media, digital media.
Yeah, I mean, I am not like a DVD collector or anything like that, but I definitely love the special features and really appreciate that aspect of it. But I'm a book person. I'm a book person for sure. I used to not be a book collector person, but then I became a bookseller. I got out of college, and here we are. And I upgraded to a new bookshelf
Yay.
within the past 6 months, and it's full. It's embarrassing, but I have the High Republic box set. So what else do I need? Um, but yeah, no, I think it's really valuable, especially books as well, because when you read a book, like the history of you reading that book is in that book, just like the recipe. Whether you crack the spine or write in the pages or spill your water on it, kind of makes that aspect of it kind of fun. But Brad, you mentioned like a wish list item, that being the the physical media. Do you have like a wish list or a grail item that you're on the hunt for, Silver? Or are you kind of more about what comes across your way?
It's really hard. Before I was always that Padme Amidala t-shirt.
Hmm.
Um, and then I actually was gifted that by a friend who I met in the Star Wars community who had it, was sitting in her closet, and she was kind enough to let me borrow it for celebration and then just said, you know what, just keep it. I've always just been like, I would love to own that one day. I always felt like I was thrifting towards that item to have. Now that I have it, I feel like, whatever comes my way, um, I'm okay with, honestly. To be honest, I'm kind of trying to thin out my collection to kind of make room for new things, but I don't know. I just feel like whatever comes my way. I feel like I got that pressure, like that one grail item that I wanted to find. Didn't end up finding it. It happened to be a gift from somebody who I met on the space who was kind enough to, give that to me, which in turn I think is much better than finding it. It was actually
Oh, for sure.
it was actually a special gift due to a friendship that I was able to blossom just by being in the Star Wars fandom. So I think that made it extra special. So everything else is just plus. So whatever comes and goes, it's just again whatever comes my way, I welcome it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I feel like getting the archives book, I feel a little bit of the same way. And like I got that myself and I was like, I was on my Christmas list for like 2 years. I was like, family, you don't understand. I understand that it's a $200 book, but I don't think you understand this book. And then
Yeah.
I got it and it brought me such immense joy. And I was like, family, you could have brought this to me, but I brought it to myself and I'm feeling good about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand that. It's like just kind of whatever comes my way at this point. And um, the joy of the find in that sense. I think for me, like the one thing I'm looking for if I ever find it out in the wild, because like there are stuff on eBay and whatnot, but I really would like to find out in the wild, and that is a Tri-Fighter toy. I had one as a kid.
Oh.
I can feel the texture of the buzz droids like in my hands and the shape of the Tri-Fighter, and like we had that toy as a kid, and it's gone. My mom must have thrown it away at some point, understandably so. But I would love to find that again, just to kind of reclaim a bit of that nostalgia for myself.
Yeah, for me, I would say it's going back to earlier is the Glow in the Dark Obi-Wan Funko Pop. I was so excited, but yet so bummed at Celebration when they were like, "Oh, by the way, they have an entire stock of leftovers from Celebration 2020 that they didn't sell." And I was like, what? And they were gone like within 5 minutes every morning. The Jedi VIPs. But Silver, I really liked your point about how special it is when you get gifts from friends. That's all I'll say. Nudging Sarah. Give me it, please.
Give me that Obi-Wan Kenobi Funko now.
He's gonna fight for it forever, but I will only get rid of it when it stops bringing me joy. And right now, the fact that you don't have it is what's bringing me joy. I'm kidding.
Oh man, that's torturous.
Dangling in front of him.
I would really love this pair of high top Adidas, Boba Fett Adidas that came out. I believe it was last year.
Okay.
And I didn't even know that they had gone on sale, and they're pretty cool looking. So I definitely want those. And then possibly in terms of Funko Pops, besides the Obi-Wan, the Boosh Unmasked Leia is pretty cool. It's like a Comic-Con exclusive from 2015. So that one's definitely a rare find. I always hate going to New York Comic Con because there's like a ton of vendors that have like all these like old vintage Funko Pops, and they're like $300 to $500 each, and I'm like, I gotta get away.
Yeah,
that's where I got her Tarful. It was like $50 for a 3-pack. So my brother took one, I took one, and she got Tarful.
I love him.
But yeah,
this means
dangerous.
The world to me. I love him. And now I have.
That's the thing about going to cons. There's the vendors who are gonna, up the sale.
One guy was really trying to get me to buy this, like, this Yoda that talks from Rots, and he was like, I'll go 15, I'll go 10. He goes, I really just don't want to pack it up. And I was like, I have no room in my luggage for it and no use for it, but thank you so much.
For a while, it was Dressing a Galaxy. Do you have Dressing a Galaxy, Silver? Do you own that?
Okay, never mind. Something just reawakened in my soul. Yeah, I need that next.
We both had that moment simultaneously. Yeah. I need you to know. Oh no, Brad, you shouldn't have said anything.
How dare you?
I would say I got a copy off Amazon. It was like pretty good condition for like $250, which was not bad. But I almost one night bid on a what ended up being a $1,300 bid for the limited edition Dressing a Galaxy, which is a signed copy by Trisha, and includes actual cloths from the costumes, like a little booklet of like actual costume. It's, if you ever have a chance to look it up, anybody listening, like the limited edition of that is insane. That's why I just like never pass by things anymore that are limited, because if I want it later, it's going to be worth like 10 times more than what I probably could have bought it for. So I'd rather have the thing and sell it if I don't want it than to not have it and then be like barred entry to owning it. I don't know. That's my collecting philosophy right now, which is probably a bad philosophy to have.
For your wallet, yes.
$395 for that book.
Yeah.
Oh,
you on Amazon right now? Because I was too.
I know. I was like, should I? Yeah, I completely forgot about that book. That book is just so, I don't know. Now I have something worth looking for.
That one, you just got to pull the trigger at some point, I feel like, because it's not going to go down too much. You just got to find like, it's like looking for a flight, right? It's like, oh, it's $800 this week, but if I look next week, it might be like $720, like any amount of dollars that you can save, so it's tough.
Oh my gosh, hold on. List. I just flipped my Thrift Books notification to instant whenever a new Dressing a Galaxy gets posted, and not weekly.
Instant.
Man.
So we just went to Star Wars Celebration, and kind of going full circle on our whole conversation podcast episode today, was there anything that you just kind of throw it out there for anybody that you bought at Celebration that was something that you really are glad you walked home with?
Yes, at Star Wars Celebration, I actually did not do a lot of thrifting just because, wow, I don't know, Star Wars Celebration is pretty chaotic when you
Oh,
have
yeah.
things you're rushing towards too. So I didn't really spend that much time on the showroom floor. I did get a C3PO standee from episode 1, which is a little cutout of C3PO. Oddly enough, I had a lot of people who were DMing me where to go pick that up on the showroom floor, and it was a pretty good price. So I live in California. I was able to drive it back home, which was nice. I was really happy to walk away with this rare 1995 VHS box set of the original trilogy in Spanish. It was released in Mexico, and I found it for about $15. And
Wow.
um, it's super rare. The cover art is gorgeous. I collect all Star Wars VHS tapes, so this was something I did not own. And also, my family's from Mexico, so it was really extra special to bring that home. And it was, yeah, it was quite the find. And I think that's really all I brought home, kind of, other than like the Attack of the Clones, like merch and, little exclusives that they had at Celebration. This was considered like a thrift find just because it was pre-used, and I got it for a pretty good deal. But yeah, it's the Attack of the Clones. It's sorry. Wow. The Attack of the Clones is clearly on my mind. It was the original trilogy VHS box set in Spanish, Guerras de las Galaxias, and it was made in Mexico, so it was pretty cool. Pretty cool
So
thing to have.
cool.
I love that.
I love it. It's awesome.
I have a hand me down for my brother. It's the black. Is it like the black box, like with the like silver or like gold VHS tape covers inside, like the kind of longer one that has like Vader?
Yeah,
Because I have one of those too.
yeah, those are like the special editions. I actually have all of those, but this one is from 1995, and it's its very own. It's blue. Just the artwork is so gorgeous. I'll send you guys a picture later. But yeah, it's all the titles are all in Spanish, which is really really cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, and it said like I had the THX. It obviously is a Star Wars movie, but it was actually like dubbed in Spanish, which is really pretty cool. They
Mhm.
sold it in Mexico. After
Nice.
researching, I was like, wow, I've never seen this before in my life, and yeah, so it was really it's pretty. Again, it was pretty special to own. But I completely just stumbled upon this thing. I said, wow, I've never seen this before. But Brad, when you're talking about yes, those are I love having Star Wars VHS tapes. I own a couple VCR players still, so I occasionally like to pop in a Star Wars on VHS just because the quality is
Just to
fuzzy.
feel something.
Yeah, exactly. The quality is fuzzy. It's fun. It's just it brings back a little nostalgic punch. So those are great.
Mhm.
I feel like my big find, really not as exciting as your silver, but I did find the Rose Tico figure 6-inch figure for like $10.
Oh yeah.
And I
Nice.
had the 3.75-inch figure, but I just never got the 6-inch figure. And I have her. She's out of her box. She's right by her Funko
Yay.
Pop up on my shelf, and I love her. She's great. She's like the perfect size figure. I'm so glad that I found this one, and I was like, oh, you're coming home with me. Thank you. So
Perfect.
yeah, but otherwise I didn't do much shopping either. It was just so busy. So
Busy.
next time.
Yeah, for me, it was my Jango Fett windbreaker that I found in the Celebration
Ooh.
store. The lady at the Celebration checkout line was so nice because she's like, it was like the end of the day, the first day, and like everything was out of stock. Like nothing was on the floor at that point.
It was
And she jokingly was
sad.
like, oh, yeah. She jokingly was like, oh, well, if you ask me, maybe I'll have it behind the counter. I'm like, do you have a Jango Fett windbreaker in a medium? And she's like, hold on one second. And then she walks behind the counter and she came back out. And again, like we had like not the best day on Thursday, just with everything that had happened with our panel and all that. And I felt like that was the first time that day that like I really
So
like lit up.
yeah.
I was like so happy. I was like, oh my God, like one
Aw.
thing today like went right. So it was like really good. It was really nice. Like person, if you're listening and you gave me that Jango Fett windbreaker, thank you.
Yeah,
Also all the Star Tours merch that I bought was just incredibly outrageous. And I can't believe I bought the exclusive DJ Rex figure. He's amazing and he talks and I love Star Tours. So all the merch is great.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Well, as we start to wrap up our conversation here, last thing I want to ask you, Silver, is like, what does Star Wars mean to you? And also like weaving in like your love of collecting, like what is collecting? Well, I guess we've already addressed collecting, like what it means to you. We kind of talked about the reasons for it, but like, what does it all encapsulate? Like, what does your fandom experience mean to you?
Well, again, I think Star Wars is just such a comfort for me. It's something that I really look to when I'm feeling down or, again, this whole thrifting obsession hobby that I had was because I was feeling pretty lonely during the pandemic and in quarantine. So I'm really thankful that I had something as crazy as Star Wars to really um, Star Wars and collecting really kind of allow me to meet like friends such as yourselves and in this community. I gotta say, this was like my fourth celebration I've been to, and this is probably by far my favorite, just because I was able to meet people, and I would not have done that had it not been my love for collecting and showing that by doing it by because it's something that I love. I love Star Wars. I love collecting, and none of that I would not have been able to really experience that joy of meeting friends. Honestly, that just really just made it was such a highlight for me at Celebration getting to meet friends that I met in this space, and it would not have been able to been possible had I not decided to show my collection one day. And I really appreciate that Star Wars can unite us in little weird ways like that. And I'm very thankful to be in this space. And I just love it. And it's just brought me so much hope and joy in a very, during trying times. And the people that I met along the way, honestly, has just made it even more special. And I guess just like how Star Wars is, just meeting like your, found family. And I felt like I was able to do that in the last couple of years. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I got to say about, that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done an entire episode about the consumer side and the capital C capitalism side of Star Wars, but I think you like at the very end there really talk about like the people, and I think honestly like everything else falls apart if it's not for the people, because like even collecting, talking to each other about like what we found or like waiting in line at Celebration to get something together, it's like 95% of that stuff is fun because like of who we can share that joy with ultimately. And also like looking at other people's collections and like maybe sparking a new appreciation for something based on what other people are adding to their own collections and like what they love, even if it's just newspaper clippings or even if it's just itty bitties or Funko Pops or whatever it is, right? So I think I think what you said is beautiful. So Sarah, did you have any other final thoughts on our episode today before we wrap up?
I mean, I think I agree with both of you when it comes down to the people, and this community it exists because of the people that we can connect with, and connect with on the most, specific, thing. And that's what the Glup Shido is all about. That's what, having your comfort character is all about. That's what collecting is all about at the end of the day. And it's finding that niche thing and finding other people who you can connect with because of that. And it is really a gift. It's really a gift, especially in those tough times, as you said, Silver. So yeah, fandom is good. Actually, collecting, pretty darn fun.
So for all of our listeners who want to see more of what you're doing online, where can they find you? And anything fun coming up that we should be on the lookout for?
Well, everyone can find me everywhere on the internet where Star Wars Thrifting is sold on Instagram and Twitter under Star Wars Thrift on Twitter and Star Wars Thrifting on Instagram. I like to post just little random pictures of things that I find throughout my thrifting travels. DMs are always open if you ever want to talk about Star Wars or collecting. I love meeting new people, so come say hi. But what I have going on the next couple weeks is it's summer, so there's garage sales, there's thrift stores, there's flea markets to be discovered. So that's where you'll find me probably every weekend. So yeah, come check me out at Star Wars Thrifting.
Awesome. Well, we can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. And it was just so much fun to take a trip down memory lane, talk about all the fun Star Wars toys that we've run into throughout our life, and talk about how we collect today and how that's changed and continues to evolve. And I really need Lucasfilm to stop pumping out content because I can't keep buying Funko Pops every show. So, but hey Sarah, we're waiting for that Jimmy Schmidt's Bail Organa Funko Pop. We have some time, maybe with Andor. We'll see.
They better.
At the very least, we'll get Mon Mothma. So,
oh my goodness,
that's a win in my book.
Yes.
Hot Mon Mothma Funko Pop. Yes.
But yeah, so thank you again, Silver, for joining us, and for everybody who's been listening. Thank you so much. Make sure you're following Friends of the Force on Twitter and Instagram, and you can check Sarah and I out on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Goodreads to see what we're reading and what we're watching and what nonsense we're spilling on tweets. And make sure to leave a rating of our podcast if you enjoyed it. Helps other folks find the show and join in the discussion, and hopefully find a new thrifting item that they didn't know existed.
Yeah, follow Brad for sad tweets, I guess, is his new brand. We also have a Patreon where we are patrons. We're so grateful for all of them. They are Amy, Brian with an I, Brian with a Y, Carol, Cheryl, Clay, Danny, Davis, Dylan, Deborah, Donnie, Elegy, Huang, Jen, Knights of Ren, Levi, Leanne, Lucy, Luke, Lindsay, Randy, Rob, Saber Bouquet, Sky Talker, Steven, Travis, and T. Thank you very much.
Thank you all once again for listening and supporting the show. Silver, thank you so much. Hope it's not the last time you'll be on Friends of the Force. And until then, everybody, may the Force be with you always.
Bye.
Bye.